crooked viaduct of Glenfinnan. This railway bridge curves through the Scottish Highlands in a sweeping arc that seems almost impossible for a structure carrying heavy trains. Built in 1898 by Robert McAlpine, it was one of the first large-scale uses of mass concrete in bridge construction. Unlike steel or stone bridges of the era, concrete was considered experimental and unreliable by most engineers at the time. What makes it stand out is not just the curve, but the fact that it was constructed without traditional centering, meaning workers poured concrete without the usual wooden frameworks. It became a symbol of bold engineering confidence, and today it is one of the most photographed railway structures in the world, partly thanks to its appearance in the Harry Potter films. The Langkawi Sky Bridge. This pedestrian bridge in Malaysia hangs from a single pylon using cables arranged in a curved design that defies conventional bridge logic. Most cable-stayed bridges use two towers for balance, but this one relies on a single curved mast set at an angle, distributing load through 8 cables. It sits 700 meters above sea level on the peak of Gunung Mat Singkang and can only be reached by cable car. The deck itself curves in a crescent shape, giving visitors a 360-degree view of rainforest, sea, and distant islands. Engineers had to account for extreme wind conditions and the difficulty of building at such altitude with no road access. It opened in 2005 and remains one of the most unusual pedestrian structures ever completed. The Eshima Ohashi Bridge. This bridge in Japan looks from certain angles like a near vertical ramp shooting into the sky. It connects the cities of Matsu and Sakanaminato across Lake Nakami, and its dramatic incline exists for a very practical reason. Large cargo ships needed to pass underneath, so the bridge had to rise steeply over a short horizontal distance. The gradient on one side reaches about 6.1%, which is steep for a road bridge but photographed with long telephoto lenses that compress the perspective and make it appear almost vertical. It opened in 2004 and immediately attracted attention from engineers and curious travelers who wanted to drive what appeared to be an impossibly steep road. The Magdeburg Water Bridge. This structure in Germany carries a canal over a river, which sounds like a simple enough idea until you realize the full scale of it. Boats travel across the Elbe River on top of this bridge inside a water-filled trough. It is 918 meters long, making it the longest navigable aqueduct in the world. The project was decades in planning and was built to reconnect a canal network divided after World War II split Germany. Engineers had to design a structure strong enough to hold millions of tons of water and moving vessels simultaneously while allowing river traffic to pass underneath. It opened in 2003 and cost around 500 million euros, but it eliminated a lengthy detour that boats previously had to make. The Rolling Bridge. This bridge in London is unlike anything else built in modern urban infrastructure. It is a pedestrian footbridge that curls up into a complete octagon when boats need to pass, then slowly unrolls back into a flat walkway. Located at Paddington Basin, it was designed by the artist and engineer Thomas Heatherwick and opened in 2004. 8 triangular sections are connected by hydraulic rams in the handrails that slowly contract to pull the bridge into its curled position. The mechanism is entirely visible as it operates, turning the act of opening a bridge into a public spectacle. It is small in scale but enormous in influence, appearing in design and engineering publications worldwide as an example of thinking beyond conventional solutions. The Moses Bridge. This bridge in the Netherlands appears to vanish into the landscape because it sits below the surface of the water surrounding it. Built to give visitors access to an old fortification called Fort de Rouvert, it cuts through the moat at water level, with the bridge deck sitting just below the waterline on each side. Water flows over the edges slightly, giving the impression that anyone walking across is walking through the water rather than over it. The design was deliberately chosen to preserve the historic appearance of the fortification, which was built in the 1600s as part of a defensive waterline. Modern waterproofing and drainage systems keep the interior dry while maintaining the visual effect. The Helix Bridge. This pedestrian bridge in Singapore spirals along its length like a strand of Dina, which is precisely the inspiration behind its design. It connects the Marina Bay Sands complex to other waterfront attractions and was designed by a team of architects and engineers who wanted the structure itself to communicate ideas about life and people. The double helix form is made of steel tubes arranged in 2 intertwining spirals, with the outer helix providing stability and the inner one supporting the walkway. At night, colored lighting runs through the structure and transforms it into a glowing ribbon along the water. It opened in 2010 and has since become one of the most recognized pedestrian bridges in Asia, the Slauerhoffbrug. This bridge in the Netherlands is not crossed by walking onto it from either end. Instead, a giant bascule arm swings a section of road down from above to connect two sides of a canal in the city of Leeuwarden. The bridge is operated entirely by remote control, with no operator physically present at the site. When a boat needs to pass, the arm lifts back up and traffic waits on both sides. It is sometimes called the flying drawbridge because of the way the road section descends through the air before landing. The mechanism is simple in principle, but strange in appearance, and it has become a popular curiosity for visitors who time their arrival to watch the operation. The Capilano Suspension Bridge. This bridge in British Columbia, Canada, stretches 137 meters across and hangs 70 meters above the Capilano River below. It was first built in 1889 by a Scottish engineer named George Grant Mackay, who wanted to reach his property on the other side of the canyon. The original bridge was made of hemp ropes and cedar planks. The current version is a modern wire rope and wooden deck suspension structure that sways noticeably when visitors walk across. What makes it significant beyond its age is the psychological effect it produces. Studies on decision-making and attraction have actually used this bridge as a research setting because the adrenaline of crossing it demonstrably influences human behavior. It now draws nearly 1 million visitors annually. The Storseisundet Bridge. This bridge in Norway is part of the Atlantic Ocean Road and appears from a distance to end abruptly in mid-air before curving sharply back down. The optical illusion is caused by the steep rise and fall of the bridge, combined with the angle from which it is typically photographed. It was built to connect a series of islands along a stretch of Norwegian coastline, known for extreme weather, and construction crews faced hurricanes, blizzards, and relentless ocean spray during the building process. The road it carries was originally considered impossible to build in that location. 12 workers were killed during construction of the Atlantic Ocean Road as a whole, and the project was called one of the most difficult road construction jobs ever attempted in Scandinavia.